Hello everybody and welcome to episode 70 of Retro Encounter. This is our next Game Journal episode where we'll be covering the winner of episode 50's vote. Joining me this week is Mike Sollosi.
Hey everybody.
Robert Fenner.
Good evening, friends.
And Steph Sybydlo.
Hello.
And your host this week, or this month even, is Alana Hagues. And this month we are covering Shadow Hearts Covenant. This won a vote on the 50th episode, as I mentioned.
Right.
We ran a poll for all of us. 5 editors picked 5 different games, and we put it to the public. This is the first time that we didn't hold an internal vote, so it was quite interesting. And somehow Shadow Hearts managed to beat Suikoden 2, which is amazing. So, hey, you've got a classic PS2 RPG that not many people have experienced, but apparently a lot of people came out of the woodwork and loved, and I personally love this game, so...
Just a random suggestion for Suikoden 2. Can we jot down how many characters we recruit out of the 105?
108.
108, sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
And compare them?
Yeah, there was a lot of interest in Suikoden 2. The vote was pretty close between Shadow Hearts Covenant, Suikoden 2, and, what was the one that almost did it? The one
Historia.
Yeah, that was it. Radiant Historia. It was pretty close between all 3 of those the whole way, and I think it is possible that we'll do Suikoden 2 and Radiant Historia at later dates. But for now, we're talking about Shadow Hearts Covenant, which, I mean, can we call this thing a cult hit?
Yeah,
it's pretty big.
Yeah,
a lot of people seem to hold a lot of funness for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think out of the series, I think the series is cult, but this one is perhaps the star.
So would you call it...
Any of you guys play it when it was new?
I played it maybe a year after it came out.
Okay.
It came out at a time when I was a NEET and had no money and a broken PS2. So when I got my first job, one of the first things I bought was Shadow Hearts Covenant with my first paycheck.
Aww, I love those kinds of stories.
The first time I played this game was about 2 weeks ago. Well, no, actually, no. I tried playing this in around 10 years ago and didn't get very far, and I had even sort of forgotten most of what I played. But now I've done almost the full first disc, and I'm having a lot of fun with it so far. It's better than I remember.
Yeah. I picked it up a couple of years after it first came out, so I think it came out in 2004, 2005, kind of, where there seemed to be a really good, couple of years for JRPGs on the PS2. I picked up 1, 2, and 3, and pretty much played all 3 of them back-to-back about 2008. So, and absolutely loved all of them. Shadow Hearts 3 took a bit of warming up to, it took me a while to get used to it and had to replay it last year. But then I kind of appreciated it. But Covenant is my favourite of the 3 and personally one of my favourite games ever. But I'm definitely up for, I love the whole series. There's no other series like Shadow Hearts to me. And I think
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I think we can all agree on that.
There's yet to be something similar. In between its wacky sense of humor, its dark atmosphere. It's an incredibly atmospheric game.
I kind of felt like the Shadow Heart games were kind of, to me, they were ooh, little exciting different stopovers while I waited for more Shin Megami Tensei titles.
Yeah, this sort of did come out in the middle of that PS2 heyday where Atlas and Square both had really good runs. But
they hit the mark just before Atlas started putting out all the stuff, so Shadow Hearts got there first.
But yeah, I agree with Alana and Steph. This is a really unique feeling game, and I don't know if I can really compare it to anything else besides other Shadow Hearts games.
Did any of you guys play Kadalka?
Rented it once upon a time ago.
No, I'm aware of it.
It's pretty rough.
It's really rough.
Yeah, so if people don't remember it, even if they played it, I don't even really mind. I'm just yeah, okay, you didn't miss much.
Roger Bacon's in Kadalka, right?
Roger Bacon is in it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does he still look like a garden gnome, sort of, without a hat?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, cool.
I think it looks okay, and I think the voice acting and the script are really good, but, imagine playing, a survival horror game with tank controls, and you're interrupted every few steps with, a really lengthy strategy random battle. And that's why that game doesn't really hold up. But I really want to play through it again, because it does have a certain charm. It's just held back by, the most arcade gameplay ever.
I think it's a game that even obscure Let's Players don't even really touch that much.
No.
It's just kind of that kind of game. So it's kind of great Shadow Hearts kind of came out of it and did something a lot more different and did it really, really well.
For sure.
It's also one of the rarest PS1 RPGs because I at once upon a time I was trying to buy every PS1 RPG that was worth playing, and the prices for Kadelka are always in the hundreds of dollars.
Oh my gosh, I got mine in a car boot sale for £1.
Oh, amazing.
Kind of great being a JRPG fan because like they don't print that many copies of this stuff and it usually always trades in for the most.
Sure is. But yes. Right. So I guess as we've touched on before, I think some of us have played other entries in the series. Now, Shadow Hearts 1 and 2 are directly related. They follow on, 2 follows on about 6 months after the end of the first game. So I don't know how much Mike knows about the first game. You haven't played the first game, have you, Mike?
No, I am aware of nothing about it. So there's a lot of references to the first game in the second one. So I don't mind getting spoiled. That's fine. But
I was gonna say, everybody in favor of just booting Mike so we can talk some sick spoilers.
Yes.
No. Oh, come on, guys.
Bye, Mike.
All right,
All your playthrough for nothing.
No.
Okay, we're rescheduling this episode for February 2019. All right, but I don't mind getting spoiled a little bit, and there's plenty of, I mean, just playing Covenant has gotten me encountering some spoilers for the first one, like Alice dies at the end of it. Yes. There's Albert Simon or Simon Albert, whatever, one of those. Cardinal Simon is the big bad guy, and he's now inside a Japanese forest in Yuri's soul.
Yep.
They're getting along just fine now.
Yeah.
Enemy.
Understanding.
Maybe this is jumping ahead a little bit, but were Simon and Yuri friends in Shadow Hearts 1? Because
No way.
Because their interaction was really pleasant when you meet him in the Mirror Castle in Shadow Hearts Covenant. And
it's one of those, you defeated me, so like you got the kings to you, you're the winner. We can kind of get along now.
I took it as like it's just sort of a figment of his psyche.
Oh, maybe.
So that's not actually Simon. That's just the memory of Simon living inside Yuri.
It's hard to say.
I thought it was part of Amon's soul, because I thought that Albert Simon and Amon were one of the same, kind of, because
I thought Simon made a contract with Amon similar to the way Rasputin made a contract with Asmodeus.
Yeah,
sounds about right.
That's how I take
it. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I guess it goes without saying.
These are spoilers.
Yeah, we're gonna spoil the hell out of Shadow Hearts Covenant over these 2 episodes, and we're already into episode 1 spoilers. Maybe we should have mentioned the warning earlier.
That's okay. I think.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Well, the nice thing is I think Covenant kind of picked up, because as great as Shadow Hearts 1 is, it probably hasn't aged as well. I think that's why it puts off a lot of people. So I like the way that they added a lot of the cutscenes from 1 into 2. So like through flashbacks, I think you get there's a part where I think when you meet Albert Simon, you see the bit where he's rising up to summon God or Meta God. I think the final boss is of 1, and
they
cool.
mentioned it earlier in the about the 3 books that you find in 1 or something. So was
That's right.
is the final boss that they summon in 1 like Cthulhu's castle?
Basically, right?
Yeah, because
it was literally an alien.
Because and they mentioned that one of those books was Earl, or I don't know how to say it, but which is an evil castle in the Cthulhu mythos, I think. But I'm not. I haven't read that.
That's where Cthulhu lives. He lives in the city of Yura.
Before we go running ahead with Shadow Hearts 1, we're going to look at this game, and I think no better way to start off with Shadow Hearts Covenant than its battle system, and I think this is where it gets a lot of well-deserved praise, although it's even more improved upon in 3. So I guess, obviously, this isn't everyone's first experience of the Judgment Ring, because we've at least played 1 and part of 2, or all of the series. Yeah, Mike's played a little bit of 2 before, but but I like a lot of the additions. So what does everyone think of the Judgment Ring, especially I think compared to the first installment? So why don't we start with Robert? What do you think of it, and what would you like see? Obviously, the differences between the 2 games.
I think I think Covenant makes a huge improvement on the Judgment Ring, whereas the first Shadow Hearts game, it's essentially it's like kind of a standard early PS2 turn-based battle system, but with this timing element to it. But where Shadow Hearts Covenant improves is that it adds this sort of kind of Lunar-esque or maybe Legend of Heroes style enemy positioning and character positioning system where, you can use the ring in different ways to bat enemies into each other, to knock them close to each other, and then hit them with an area of effect skill. But I will say that so many times playing through this has using the Judgment Ring and forfeiting all my attacks because I've missed the timing on on something has made me curse out loud, which is not something I often do. I seem to have gotten the timing down, but I'm not sure if this one plays too well on HD TV. But Alana, you're not having any problems with that, are you?
I don't know. I don't seem to be, unless my timing is like 2 or 3 seconds out anyway, which in which case then it wouldn't matter. But
what kind of connection are you using to the HD TV?
What do you call it? The 3 colored cables.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sticking that into a SCART.
Yeah, if it's an AV into an HD TV, then the video could have some latency. But if it's component cables, then you'll have less latency. The 5-pronged ones.
Okay.
But I'm playing on an ancient tube TV that I lugged up from my basement.
Oh, that should be fine.
It's working fine for me. It was just a pain in the ass dragging that television up 2 flights of stairs. But
they're heavier than they look.
Yeah. But the combat system, at first I was a little worried because when you think of having to play a mini game for every attack, it makes me think of one of my least favorite battle systems ever, Legend of Dragoon, which is fun at first until every battle takes 8 minutes, even if you win on the first turn.
Oh,
I think this is kind of a perfect version. Well, not perfect, but it's such a better version of what Legend of Dragoon set out to try and achieve.
Yeah, and I appreciate that it's an active battle system that has positioning and timeline elements, almost like Final Fantasy X, and timed hits, but also feels fast. It's a turn-based battle system that feels quick is like an ideal RPG battle system for me, and I think that Shadow Hearts Covenant hits that sweet spot. It's real good.
Yeah.
I always like the part where it's like, you want to use an item and you can critical hit technically the items or miss completely. And it's always something I want to go for. I'm just like, no, let's do it. Let's get greedy. And then I fail, and everyone dies.
The curse thing is the 3rd and 5th keys where you have to hit, it's basically you get 3 rounds of your own Judgment Ring. And if you miss one hit, you get as many hits as you made.
I've reset for that. I'm like, let's do it again.
Yeah. I do like you bring up, I do like the way that integrate and bring it in with the items, the magic. It's such a neat little way to kind of...
And discounts in shops.
Discounts in shops, which is amazing.
It's really obnoxious that it's absolutely everywhere, but I totally indulge in it.
That lottery can get in the sea, though.
I always hated getting the best weapon for Yuri for that. Yeah, that threw me up a wall. You'll find this out soon, Michael.
Oh, all right. Yes. I don't know. Maybe I just played a ton of rhythm games in the mid 2000s, but I haven't had major issues with the Judgment Ring. I've only used a 3rd key or a 5th key once for a certain boss that was getting a little hairy. I think I'm able to win encounters in the first turn all the time, but boss battles are really struggling. Maybe I think I might be underleveled, but I'm not sure. I'm in the 2nd round of Russia, and my characters are level 20 or 21 right now.
Ooh,
so I might be low. I'm not sure. But it's I've had a lot of fun with the Judgment Ring, and this is maybe a bit of a tangent, but maybe my favorite part of it is the arguments that Yuri has with the Judgment Soul, with the Ring Soul. I love that. I mean, we'll talk about the dialogue of this game more, but and how weird and sarcastic Yuri's dialogue is. But
his a lot of fun with those.
His encounter with the Soul Rings, or his encounters with the Soul Ring, are among my favorite dialogue in the game. It would be so easy to have the Ring Soul just be a regular character that just sort of told you what he was doing, but His relationship with Yuri is so strange. I love it.
I just like how upset the ring soul gets. He gets like really put out, kind of embarrassed.
Yeah, he's sensitive, and Yuri's weird and kind of mean and sarcastic, and the ring soul like first gets sort of sullen, then sort of opens up a little bit, and doesn't really ever trust Yuri. It's adorable.
I love it when he's like throws a tantrum and he's like, "I'm going home to my wife," and Yuri's like,
"You have a wife?
Go and tell me you have a wife." It's like, what? It's quite cute because I'm just a bit further ahead. I think I'm on disc 2 now, so you get to a point where you're so close to the ring soul that he shares the wife, and he's got a daughter as well.
Yeah,
so he shares their names, and it's so cute. It's just you could just like you said, it could just be a little like development plot device, but actually, like you say, there's so much quirky dialogue in there that I find myself laughing every time because that ring soul is so kind of uptight. He's just like, I must do my duty perfectly, and then Yuri comes along and is like, I'm not a traditional JRPG hero. It's fine.
Yeah, and also
pretty much some of the badly translated dialogue in the first game gets pretty good with Yuri for that. He's just even more brash and just more goofy.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
So I guess related to the battle system, is there's a really neat little magic system that this game's got, called Solomon's Key, which you get, I think, around a third to halfway through disc 1. I mean, I really like Solomon's Key because I like a lot of the demon lore that they bring into Shadow Hearts. It's so cool, and it's something that I've dabbled in a little bit and read around, but I need to refresh my memory.
Well, Solomon's Key is a real document. It's it's an occult text that is allegedly from I think what is it? Is it from the Hebrew Kabbalah or it's supposedly from there, but it was probably just like manufactured by Renaissance mystics. But anyway, it's a lot of occult stuff in the real Solomon's Key, but part of it is listing 72 demons that occultists tried to summon, and you see the 72 demons from Solomon's Key in a lot of video games. Like they're very present in the Shin Megami Tensei and Persona games. And in this game, you basically you collect are they glyphs, or you collect demons from Solomon's Key.
Crests.
Yeah, they're crests, right? That's it. You collect crests, and you can learn magic from them and place them in the book in certain patterns, which is a really fun sort of persistent mini game.
I really, really like it, but I hate how obnoxious it is to find items in the game where you basically got to be clicking X at every single corner of every room.
Yeah.
So, like, if you miss a Solomon's Key, you could have missed it, like, in the first town in a house in a barrel back then.
I like that. Most like so old RPG kind of thing. I get you, definitely. Like, it is a little bit old, but I do like, especially where you get like, I don't know, I've just come straight off the back of playing 15, where it tells you where every item is on the map, and then it's nice to kind of wander around because it's like finding a penny on the corner. Like,
but also, I think most of the areas in Shadow Hearts Covenant can be revisited.
It's pretty easy to revisit areas, at least.
Because I remember, also this game is rotten with persistent side quests, by the way. Because every character has at least one kind of item or kind of quest to collect. Yeah, there's a lot of them. But I remember when I was checking to see where the next wolf was in the wolf bout for Blanca, who I guess we'll talk about later, maybe in the next episode. For I think 2 of them, you had to revisit old dungeons. So it's possible to revisit almost every point in Shadow Hearts Covenant, which is nice because missable items are one of my biggest pet peeves in RPGs. But yeah, you have to be really thorough, and it's really hard to collect everything because I think there's 72 crests, right?
Yep,
possibly, yeah.
Something big like that, yeah.
And I think I'm in the 30s where I have them now. But it's a really fun mini game.
For 72 demons, yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun to go into the Solomon's Key and based on the descriptions of each crest, having to position them around, and then the reward is pretty good.
This guy sits next to this guy, and he's over here, so we'll let you puzzle this out. It's pretty easy, but
it's not hard, but it's cute.
It's an extra layer of charm.
It is cool. The only area that ever gives me any trouble is the top one, which is it's like the battlefield one. Because some of the descriptions are really vague, because it's like one of them sitting on a horse, but actually it doesn't sit on the square where the horse is, and it's like...
Yeah, and the horse is sort of near 3 squares.
Yeah, but I really like doing it because as you get more, it becomes easier, and sometimes I just leave some to one side and I'm just like, oh, I've picked up Leroy. I must go next to, I don't know, Asmodeus or something. But yeah, you get crests for each of the 3 major demons as well, so that's really
yeah,
cool.
that makes sense. They are in the real Solomon's Key.
Exactly. But it's nice because you also get rewards for it as well, so you get like an extra spell once you've completed an area on each crest. So rather than using like 11 CP to equip a crest that's got like the level 3 spell, eventually you'll get like a level 2 crest or like something that's got like 5 CP that will get a level 3 spell, and you're like, oh, I can just put all my buffs on because Shadow Hearts likes buffs and debuffs a lot.
Those buff spells are really useful.
Yeah,
I get
one
a lot
of the games where they actually do help.
Yeah, I get a lot of mileage out of the barrier and shield ones for boss battles. And and I sort of mentioned this before, but almost every character has a dedicated side quest where you have to collect items. So it really behooves you.
I like Geppetto's.
Geppetto's is we have to talk about those dolls and those dresses. And those cards. The cards.
Geppetto and his real doll.
Who wants to run it down?
So what you have to do is you have to find like the cards with like burly, semi-naked men on them,
stud
and then exchange
cards.
them for stud cards. Sorry, and then exchange it for a new dress for your doll, and at least you can pick what dress you want. And there's a different element for every dress.
I was explaining this to my girlfriend while she was, checking in on me playing, and I was like, well, you see, that's Geppetto, but instead of Pinocchio, he's got like this really realistic small girl, and she needs to get more dresses, so I have to find this like gay erotica and give it to these 2 gay shopkeepers, and then they design a costume for her, and then she can use more spells, and my girlfriend was just like, well what?
Mm-hmm. No, that
really
is accurate.
Dresses. And the stud cards are
sassy
terribly...
sailor.
And
at least everybody gets the benefit in that kind of a weird ass side quest.
And I even like in Geppetto's regular attacks, he has to do the same cutesy poses that his doll makes. There's just a really weird visual to every character in this game. All of the characters feel unique, even in just how their judgment rings are slightly different from each other, and how their specific character-specific abilities are different. It's Shadow Hearts. There's so many parts of it are completely wacky, but its tone is sort of dark and atmospheric, and it takes all of this wackiness in stride, and people treat it like it's normal for the most part. It's hard to describe unless you actually play it yourself, and it is really, really cool. I dig the strangeness and the darkness of Shadow Hearts' vibe a lot. It's awesome. Like playing this makes me want to go and play 1 and 3 like right afterwards, and I just might. I'm not sure yet. But
I have to say, there's something to be said about some of the real world RPG settings, and it kind of makes it a lot of fun to kind of play in reality like that.
Yeah, I definitely think that's why I really love the game, because it just kind of throws... It does Lovecraftian, it does the kind of, let's put you in the real world, throw demons in and see how everything changes.
That's what I love, though, is that like it's a real world game, but where like all myths and demons and all that kind of stuff are real. Basically, it's the exact same, but where magic is real and monsters happen. And
there's not a lot of RPGs like that. Like, I mean... I don't know, maybe Terranigma, like the second half of Terranigma, which is another game that Retro Encounter has covered. But they use the real world settings pretty well, and some real world locations. Like I think you go to Notre Dame at least at one point, and and the Winter Palace in Moscow, of course.
You go all over the place.
In Petrograd. But you're globe trotting and.
Actually, talking about real-world things reminds me of the disclaimer at the beginning of this game, where it likes to tell you that none of the people or areas in this game are real, and it's like, no, wait, T.E. Lawrence is in front of me, and, it's like, you're telling me Anastasia's not real, but it's like, oh, it's just...
cover our ass move if there ever was one.
And it's like, it's just, I get
How
it.
dare you tell me that Joaquin the wrestling vampire is not real?
She didn't kill Rasputin, and Roger Bacon wasn't a 1,000-year-old alien. So.
Exactly. Aww.
So you got to cover your ass in case somebody gets confused.
Is, So at least I have some fun with it.
Exactly. Actually, Shadow Hearts has the it's the only game that's got a location that's near to where I live. So Southampton is like about an hour and a bit away from where I live. So I'm just like, oh look, so close. But yeah, no wrestling ring, no vampires, no Great Garden.
I think we have to spend at least a few minutes talking about Joaquin because he is my favorite character in a walk.
Oh man, what a great weapon gimmick too. And everything about him, his stupid rhythms and everything too. Great. Like I remember one battle, all of a sudden he was just invisible. I was like, what the hell happened and why?
It's like oh, okay, he's a bat now, all right, but he's dealing more damage. That's okay. And my favorite thing about him, and this is a weird thing to be my favorite thing about him, is it's only happened twice so far, but sometimes he'll just see an object in the real world and be like, huh, that mailbox. I think I want that mailbox. And Yuri's like, don't take the mailbox, that is stealing. And then he just rips the mailbox out of the ground, and he's like, yes, this mailbox is perfect.
They have conversations about how weird it is, and then his weapons just get weirder and weirder, and then they don't make sense anymore.
I think there's two last weapons. One is a tower, which has got employees in it from who made the game.
What?
And the final weapon is the Nautilus, which I think is the company that originally published or made this game, or made one
the
of
developer, yeah.
Wait, do you mean like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea Nautilus?
Yeah,
like the submarine from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is his final weapon.
Yeah.
I am so excited to play the rest of this game. Oh my god, this is a better version of Kanji's weapons in Persona 4. Oh man.
Yeah.
I like how his bio changes depending on what form he's taken. So like for the Golden Bat, it says like he takes this form when he wants to do the shopping unmolested. Not in a very social mood.
And also is,
if only,
one of the very few openly gay characters in a JRPG too.
Was he?
Yeah, he is queer. Yeah.
Should I mention how I discovered he was gay?
Yeah, I didn't really catch it. I don't know how well it paid attention.
Near the middle of Disc 1, there's a point where 5 of your characters are locked up, and Veronica, the weird S&M lady, is trying to pick which one to torture. And if she picks Joaquin, while she's torturing him, and obviously enjoying the torture very much, Joaquin tells her, no, I'm gay, I'm not into women. And I'm like, well, this is a strange way of coming out to someone. But
did he actually come out right out and say it?
He does. He says it. He says that directly. It's some of his dialogue options, and he makes it very clear. So yeah,
this series is actually pretty okay with having its gay characters right out in the open.
Yeah,
like unambiguously gay.
They're kind of. The
shopkeepers, the shopkeepers, and
sensitive.
They're obviously jokes, and Joaquin is maybe the silliest playable character, but at least he's a badass. And
I mean,
and
I don't
the fact
have
that
much of an issue with
the fact that they're openly gay is, I think the fact that they're openly gay at all is remarkable for a JRPG.
And a pretty old one too.
Like, I played Tokyo Twilight Ghost Hunters about like maybe a year or 2 years ago, and that had another pair of gay characters, kind of in the vein of the shopkeep. But like I felt like that game it handled it way worse, and it kind of like basically like tried to say that all gay people were sex offenders, whereas I feel like it's just kind of like a more of an innocent sort of ignorance in Shadow Hearts.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, but I mean, Joaquin's not a sex offender, and he's a badass, powerful character. He's if anything, go ahead.
I'm mostly talking about the shopkeeps.
Sure.
They're pretty silly looking.
Yeah,
they tend to act like just over the top, flamboyant, like unrelentingly.
And well, they reward you for finding cartoonish gay porn scattered around the world.
Yeah, well, that'll do.
Actually, yeah. One thing I wanted to talk about. What do you guys think of the music so far?
I would say it's good. It's definitely not near the caliber of the first game. I think
first game was definitely best,
we had a bit of the discussion about it on the first, just before we started recording, and it's definitely less Mitsuda and more. I can't remember the name of the other composer.
Kenji Ito joined the team.
Yeah, he did. Yoshitaka, I think. And it's good. Like you say, the town theme is really repetitive. It doesn't really change in Japan. You get a different town theme in Japan.
Not as good. Yeah.
Oh, I quite like the Japan one, but maybe it's because you hear it less often because you spend more time in Europe. But
the sort of main village that you visit a lot in Japan is really, really nice. I think that one's really pleasant.
Is that the one you were alluding to before? The good town music later in the game?
The good one, yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's just exceedingly pleasant and still has it's an all piano piece, but it's just got a very pleasant vibe and still has a very distinctly Japanese sound to it, so it's nice.
Yeah.
That first game soundtrack kind of walks the line between kind of like tribal primalism and trip hop, and this soundtrack sounds a lot softer in comparison.
That's actually one thing I wanted to mention was, like, especially by way of battle themes. I haven't played the third game yet, but the first and the second game have very kind of very rhythmic battle themes to kind of go along with the battle system. I find it's less melodic and more rhythmic.
They push the bass and the percussion in a way that's that is more recognizable than the actual melody of the song.
It is, yeah, but it really gets you pumped up. It totally works for the battle system.
Yeah, I think the third game's got the best battle system, not battle system, but the best battle music in Dead Hand Fingers or something like that, but it's the battle theme for North America, and it's really great, and it does the same sort of thing, so I really like it, but
yeah. So I'm glad they've kept that consistent, like that's actually like an element of the music that they wanted to carry over.
Yeah. But no, I think atmospheric's another word to describe the first game soundtrack. Like, it's tribal. You have got some like the dungeon themes in 2 in Covenant are a little bit atmospheric, but they're kind of just a bit dull. Whereas you've got
remember them at all. Yeah,
they're pretty sparse.
Yeah,
there's a lot of it feels like incidental music. There's a lot of echoing, and not a really strong melody to latch onto. It's not like Mega Man stages where like the stages are partially defined by the music. I think they're just trying to contribute to the atmosphere instead of having a really likable or recognizable dungeon tune. And can we talk about the dungeons for a minute or two, because they're either real good or I can't wait for them to end.
You haven't beaten. Wait, okay. So for those who beat the first disc, that final dungeon, or where I think around where Rasputin is, that floating like flesh city.
Oh my god,
that's almost unacceptable. That
the 20-second song that plays there ad nauseum.
I haven't gotten there yet. I must be just before it.
Oh my god.
This game's already got a bit of an issue with its random encounter rate being a bit, and that particular dungeon really just like piles them all on.
Yeah, maybe it's because I've played Skies of Arcadia twice, and I just finished playing Dragon Quest VII. But I don't think the random encounter rate's that bad. But some of the dungeons, like the winding subway tunnels and that mine in between Southampton and Wales, like they're just annoying and windy and not easy to navigate, and having the fixed camera perspective change sometimes sometimes throws me off balance.
Oh no, that's like my pet hate, where you like come down a corridor and it turns perspective, and then all of a sudden your character goes backwards, and it's like, okay.
At least there's a map this time.
Yeah. The mini map helps, but still, some of the dungeons are just too long and too empty and boring, but a couple of them are really cool, like the Italian headquarters for Sapiente's Gladio.
I love that one.
I love that.
It's less like a dungeon and more that you're just finding hidden passages in a regular building. Yeah, it's cool. It feels like a spy side story. It's awesome. If the dungeons felt distinct and different and had fewer just winding corridors, I'd like them a lot better. But around half of the dungeons are cool and interesting, and the other half are like, oh man, maybe I should just check game facts.
Too many instances where like you go down a floor to pick up a single item and then go back up to the previous floor, and it's like, well, that didn't really need to be there, did it?
Unless it's a ring soul, in which case you get all of them.
Yeah, well, of course.
Neem Ruins is the worst one. I hate Neem Ruins because I just hate moving block dungeons or make staircase dungeons, and I hate them so much. And this one, it's not the worst one, but it's just the whole idea. It's just like, oh look, it's another one.
It's not a good version of a moving platform dungeon, and there's already plenty of moving platform dungeons in RPGs.
Yeah, I think the only dungeons I liked are like Sapiente's Gladio, is headquarters, and also Man Mariana Island was quite nice because at least you had to do some sort of puzzle where you had to put all the like zodiac pictures together.
Oh right, that's the one with the cat at the end, right?
That's the one with Andre at the end.
Right. Yeah.
So that's like a reward in itself. So
That's my favorite boss so far. Is the giant pink cat that turns on his owner.
there's like
I did have to roll my eyes before they fight it though. Like, man, that is one big pussy. It's like, oh god, they said it.
That is
I knew
something.
they would.
That is something he literally said.
Yep.
Yeah.
And,
like there's like a little glitter in his eye. I swear to God, I was like, he's gonna say it, isn't he? He's gonna say it, and then he said it. There it is.
I reckon that Mao in Shadow Hearts from the New World, it must have been like a positive response to that pink cat. If not on behalf of fans,
but you
on
don't,
behalf of the developers.
But you don't kill the pink cat, because after the fight's over, you see the cat prowling in its cage. So you just all you did was subdue it and then put it in its cage, and you didn't actually kill it. Which I think that shot was just so that cat people had to be reassured that the cat wasn't murdered.
Yeah. And also
that cat is adorable. It's not like the cat demons of the first game. So.
Right.
No.
I'm happy to see that dogs also get their, dog lovers also get their own character in their team.
This is one of the best RPGs for dog lovers, because Blanca is excellent.
Mm-hmm. Good character. I think it's the fastest character too. He's the fastest.
He is.
He's fast. Yeah. I think he has average. Yeah, he has like average stats, but okay magic and high speed. And he is somehow the most level-headed and maybe the smartest character in the game.
Yeah.
You never know it.
There's a really cute...
I like how they actually give him a voice for those dog fights.
Yeah.
This is real good.
Talk with other dogs so you can get him to beef him up for his own personal side quest.
This is another one of those parts of Shadow Hearts that just like it's kind of like just weird and creepy when you think about it. Like Yuri going all Michael Vick and making his dog fight in the streets against other dogs. It's kind of horrible.
It's
not really his dog, right?
But
also
his monologue is that he doesn't really want to fight either, and it's just like Yuri's like having a show of machismo against these other trainers.
I don't think it's quite like that, because Blanca does fight some of them without Yuri. And because Blanca saves the party's ass when they're being tortured by the S&M lady. First of all, it's wolves and not dogs. It's called the Wolf Bout, and the way that they frame it is like it's to determine who is the alpha dog of the whole world.
Of course.
So it's in a way it's wolves challenging each other for territory, and not domesticated dogs fighting at the behest of their humans. So
when they lose, they put their cute little paw print on, like,
right.
I've got a personal affection for the space dog and the zombie dog.
It's so weird, man.
I haven't met the zombie dog yet, but the space dog that talks in emojis that talks in ASCII art maybe is
they
pretty
get
hilarious.
Weirder in Disc 2. The entire game is weird. It is a weird game.
I like Blanca. In Disc 2, there's like a bit where you have to control him, and he meets up with some other characters, and they affectionately
hiding against a wall, like back up against a wall.
Oh, is that the prison where you have to sneak around the prison? And he just gets up on his hind legs and is like, "You can't see me now."
Yeah,
like,
and there's one part where Yuri's not listening to someone that's lecturing him, and he just starts he picks up Blanca's paws and just starts dancing with him.
So cute.
And then Blanca doesn't seem totally into it, but it's like, okay, this is regular dog owner stuff, and Yuri is just like a 7-year-old kid.
No, Blanca doesn't do cute, because there's a little girl in Disc 2 who like nicknames him Snowball, and he just barks at her, and then there's in brackets it's just like, no, I'm not taking the name Snowball. My name's Blanca. Blanca. And then she's just like, good boy. And he's like, no. And he growls, and it's like, oh, I just want a Blanca. See, I have white dogs, and it's just like, why are you not up to Blanca's standards? Like, you're just not there.
Blanca is an excellent video game animal. Really, really excellent.
Agreed.
Yes, definitely.
If Joaquin wasn't so hysterical and great, Blanca would be my favorite. But he's a solid number 2.
Okay, we got to ask the important question here. What does everybody think of Karen?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, she's put on her halter top and her thigh-high boots to fight World War One.
Yep.
She has. I really like Karen, actually. I
we'll like her as a character, man.
That's fair enough. I think, she's a bit... No. I think
fair
she
enough.
is a little bit stereotypical, maybe, and I think, especially coming off the back of when I first played it, and we'll find this out in Disc 2,
Mm-hmm.
there are lots of things that I find really uncomfortable about her. And I don't really like... I don't know, there are things... I do really like her, and I like the way she fights, and I think she's quite cute, and I don't know, but I do
feel like
agree
in a character, like in a game full of like very kind of fun and
she's
motley crew of
very
characters,
normal.
she's a bit normal, yeah.
She is a blank slate, really, isn't she? And
By comparison, especially.
I don't like the kind of fact that she falls for Yuri a little bit, and I'm just sort of like, no, I'm just a ardent Alice and Yuri.
Well, in a way,
Well, like
Sorry,
what
go
I don't
ahead.
like about it is that I feel like Yuri's still kind of in mourning, and she's kind of butting in.
Exactly, and even we'll talk about it. Actually, it might be better to save most of it till the second episode, because there are issues with her that I have that come to light in the second episode, second half anyway. So, but go on. Robert was going to say something.
Oh, it kind of strikes me like they were setting her up to be the protagonist, or if not, like a bit of a decoy protagonist. You know, she's front and center on the box. You start the game as her.
Yeah, and she temporarily teams up with grown-up Hitler Youth Priest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, like, maybe there was a different script where she was supposed to have a bit of a little bit more characterization, or I don't know. She doesn't seem like as fleshed out as she could have been.
I
But
think.
did you guys like Alice? Those of you who played the first game?
You know what? I liked her for that kind of contrast to Yuri.
Yeah.
You know, if he's hot-blooded and, you know, the color red, she's kind of cool, and the color blue, you know?
I'm not
she's
sure
much
if Alice
fun,
works for
but
me.
Yeah, she's okay.
She is quite, like, again, standard, like,
Yeah.
exorcist priest woman who's, you know, she's got such, you know, panty shots and everything. Like, I do quite like.
Shortest skirt in the world.
She does,
And
it's
for
like,
somebody who's so modest.
and it curls up as well. But I like Alice a lot because of, like you say, like Steph says, the way that she like counteracts Yuri, and I think she's really sweet, and I like their relationship a lot. Maybe I feel really bad for saying that though, because obviously part of it is the fact that, spoilers, she canonically dies at the end of 1.
Right. Well, I mean,
So-
they've mentioned it a bunch of times in 2, so I
Yeah.
figured out that she died.
But you
Or
can get
does she?
yeah, oh yeah.
It's gotta be say, I love how cool that is. That in the first game they give you 2 different endings, and the second game takes on the bad ending. And I think
Yeah.
that's just a really cool idea. I don't feel many have done that.
That's ballsy of them to. If there's a good ending and a bad ending, and I'm presuming that the good ending is maybe you know, she doesn't die, or they live happily ever after, or something like that.
Yeah.
They managed to find a way to tie that into Covenant in a really interesting way. that
Very,
we'll talk
very
about
well.
At the end of the
Good,
next.
good.
Oh,
I,
okay.
it's honestly one of my favorite video game endings for what it does.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
I'm assuming some kind of time
It's really
travel.
smart.
It's
really
smart,
good.
yeah.
I'm assuming
And
time
you
travel
will,
shenanigans. I guess. Maybe.
Huh?
Well,
Yeah.
I guess I'll find out.
You'll get a lot out of playing Shadow Hearts 1 after 2.
Okay. All right.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to talk about the victory theme. Everybody love it?
Oh.
I know it's obviously the greatest.
Oh yeah.
I-
It's echoey.
I
It's so weird.
didn't.
It's all victorious, and then it just kind of weird sound effects, weird hollow sound effects.
Yeah,
Like somebody dropped a bunch of like pitched beads on a floor.
Yeah, I didn't listen to it at first until Steph, before we recorded, you said, oh, how about that victory theme? So I went and listened to it more closely the next time I played the game, and like you mentioned, it seems like a pretty normal victory fanfare for like 8 seconds, and then it's a bunch of like weird echoey like space clock sounds or something, and with a really sort of like rumbly bass. It's weird and cool.
Yay! We got more fans.
Well, I think
How do we feel about like character designs too?
yes, that's what I was going to jump into.
I like how unique and different they feel. It's not all the same character build, the same body type. It's a diverse looking cast, which is important to me. That a cast, you know, you can tell the difference between different characters, and I like it for that. And I like how each character has a unique mechanic and a unique side quest.
Mm-hmm.
Bit anachronistic though, some of them. Like
Yeah.
Karen is obviously the biggest one. Like, how does she do those? How does she do that outfit? Like, where is it from? And I guess well, they're all a bit anachronistic in a way. I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
Petto's
Yeah.
maybe withstanding, although he's quite clearly inspired by Ella Pinocchio, Geppetto / like every
I'm
like
distracted.
the Mad Hatter.
I'm distracted by the 2 straps that come from Yuri's butt pack.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, at the very beginning of the game, I'm like, wait, does he have tails? No, those are straps from a leather pouch. Okay.
They're so satisfying though, because they
Kinda
like
jangle.
rattle as you move,
Yeah.
and so I'm just like tapping along to it, and I'm like, I like. Well, have you seen Yuri's design in the first game, Mike? Or because it's a little different.
I haven't. No.
He basically just it's like more, I guess, traditional, maybe a bit more suitable, I guess, but it's just like a
It's still
shirt,
weird. Yeah,
trousers,
it's
and
just
a massive
sort of
brown
a weird
coat.
onesie, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. But
If I remember correctly, weren't the portraits in the first game monochromatic?
Yep.
yeah, they were.
I think I liked that a bit more. It was a little bit like kind of sketchy and moody.
Yeah.
Kind of dates it nicely.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah, they were like tea stained and ripped as well, and so
Yeah.
they
And
were really
I felt like maybe like the full color and the redrawn portraits they still looked good, but they didn't have quite the same effect on me as they did the first time round.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
I put a bit of the blame on that for the artist who draws very, very oval heads too. I don't know, it just gets a little distracting. Sorry, I got a critical eye for that kind of thing. One of my favorite villains has to be Lenny.
Yeah.
Where did that guy come from?
He just kind of comes back. My favorite is the side quest with him by the end of the game. I won't get into it, but it's just kind of fun how it all boils down.
is he still alive? Because it looked like he died at the end of the fight.
You don't kill guys like that.
Okay. So it's not. So maybe it's not the same as Lenny from Of Mice and Men. Got it.
He's like transplanted from Fist of the North Star or something.
He is.
Well, I mean, his transformed form is called God Hand, and
It is.
yeah,
Did you meet Kato yet?
yeah. He shows up pretty early.
He looks a little bit like a potato.
I think it's really cool. Like, he's a character from the first game, and I just thought he was a really cool character to bring back, and just the way they kind of do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kato is really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
A nice
We'll
type
open the
of-
jar on that next time, but I mean...
You're pretty much on the cusp of finding out anyway, Mike. But,
Okay.
Yeah. He might have even got. I don't know. Did you say you've just got Anastasia, or have you got Amon?
No, I recruited Anastasia, then I was driven out of Russia, and then I was in Turkey talking to the priest, and then I just got back to Russia after finishing Turkey.
Okay, so I mean, I don't know whether you've seen anything between like Kato and Nikolai yet, but
A little bit, yeah. It looks like
Yeah.
that they're doing some kind of agreement where Japan will support Rasputin once he comes into power.
that's it. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
he's
and,
probably got a
just
little bit.
just mention offhand, Rasputin is the main villain of this game, as in the mad monk Rasputin from Russian
Yeah.
history.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
for now.
just saying that. Okay, for now. Okay, that's fine.
I actually played this around the same time as the first Raido Kuzunoha game, where Rasputin is also the main villain.
Rasputin
it's
gets
kind of
around.
Playing these back to back, and I was like, oh.
One of my friends has a...
I'm happy to see him everywhere.
Man in Russia long ago.
Oh, here we go. So
Tony
should we
M?
just- Yeah. So we just put, like, that's obviously going to be here in some shape or form. That song.
We should close out with that.
Oh, no, I don't know about that.
Rasputin.
The lover of the Russian queen. Yeah,
I
that song
do
is wild.
think-
I'm impressed that all four of us know that song.
Oh, I do think of it every time I see him, even in Shadow Hearts. I tell you what, actually, when we were talking about music, I should have brought this up. There are 2 really good boss battle themes that are really good. One of them's Ladder to Heaven, which isn't on the soundtrack. Which is it's not on the official soundtrack. Which plays in the Amon fight. And the
I noticed the Amon song being a different boss theme. That was really good.
And then, it's super
Kim does
good.
really good boss battle themes. Like, they're all good. The first game had a really cool title for it. It was like a near-death experience, which was a really cool song.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
NDE, yeah.
And then-
Near Death Experience is also the name of the wonderful arranged album, which I suggest everybody get.
Ooh.
Oh, have you been playing the stupid roulette or the?
Oh, the lottery.
The lottery?
Yeah, secret
Yeah.
lottery.
I've been doing all right with the lottery. I can get the red item most of the time, but ever
Save
since
scumming helps.
I do save before before shop discounts and the lottery, but I almost never miss them. So I'm wondering what's the point. But it's just a new.
So you're just that good at games, I guess.
Well, no. If anything, I'm bad at video games, and that's kind of why I play a lot of RPGs. but yeah, it's just another neat application of that Judgment Ring stuff, which I don't think is particularly bad or excellent, but it's just another part of it.
I love the Judgment Ring. I really want a game to take up the reins, do another Shadow Hearts-esque game, and make it happen again.
There's echoes of it in Lost Odyssey, which was developed by a lot of the same staff. But it's not quite the same.
Yeah,
it's not nearly as good either.
It's like I think a breed between Legend of Dragoon and this, because it uses the triggers and the Judgment Ring.
Man,
there's
Legend
rumors. There were rumbles about a year ago, weren't there, that the creator was like, "I'd like to make a game with like Yuri's dad," and everyone was just like, "Yes, please."
That was a little while ago. We've had radio silence since then, haven't we?
Yeah, but no. I think one quick thing I want to bring up before we probably start closing out is, off the back of character designs, is enemy designs. I think there's actually an entire website dedicated to Shadow Hearts 1 enemy designs anyway.
Oh,
really? So good.
And then good in the first game.
Postman.
Yeah, the Postman is the best.
There's that one enemy that just hangs upside down, like mid-air.
They made a giant wasp with like hell demon gaping maw and teeth, which is really scary, especially if you don't like bees. And but yeah, there's a lot of really screwy, creepy looking enemy designs in this game. It's awesome.
The finger spider, the finger tarantula.
Oh jeez.
It's got like toenails, and I'm like, that's not right at all. There's so many
How do you make spiders scarier? Toenails.
Toenails.
Purple and toenails.
Oh god, there's a normal enemy from the first game. What it is, it's a dog with a hand sticking out of it, and it's doing a handstand. Is that what that is?
Yeah. The description is it's the vengeful spirit of a mailman who ate every dog in town, and then he died and came back as.
Oh, so it's like, oh god, a mailman's revenge on dogs. Oh god.
And then the dogs got the revenge on him.
It's great.
Yeah, everything. It's very like, everything feels so cursed, in a really exciting way.
Yeah, it's not like as sometimes I find Shin Megami Tensei demons. Sometimes, especially nowadays, modern Persona are a bit more explicit. Whereas these have got like the traditional kind of unnerving creepiness about them, and whereas, you know,
they've thought about it too with those bios to back them up. They're
great.
They're not separate to the design. They always fit it so well. So you can tell that they've spent a lot of time thinking about it instead of just bashing things out.
Yeah, you can.
I really appreciate it.
On the player status screens and in the library tab in the near the end of the menu, you can read the blurbs about every NPC and playable character and monster in the game, and they are real entertaining. Like I'm assuming that's where the details of that postman monster comes from. And
definitely.
Yeah, reading through those is pretty wild because there's a lot of imagination and flavor in these designs. This game's great. I can't wait to get back to playing it, honestly.
Even like replaying it as I'm going along, I'm just like, what is that? Like, seriously? But I'm trying to think of another really good one. There's like some strange snake things. There's like, I don't know. There's lots of dismembers' heads and upside down. Oh, there's that corpse, isn't there? That's literally like a bent backwards corpse. And then, there's just so many like little treasures waiting for you everywhere, waiting to kill you. That's great.
So many little treasures is a very interesting choice to describe the rogues gallery of this game.
I would rather fight those things like that than like cute little squirrels or anything like that. So at least it feels like I'm doing some good rather than just like, this is your first RPG dungeon. Let's give you birds and bees. Whereas instead you get like finger spider.
Well, and you also have to smash toy ducks and toy lions.
And the dogs, the toy dogs as well.
Yeah, right, correct.
So, you know.
How dare I forget those?
Exactly. Well, I think that just about wraps it up for this episode. Thanks very much for listening, everybody. I suppose before we end, has anyone got any, like, obviously 3 of us have like played it through to completion before, but Mike, have you got any expectations for Disc 2, or
okay.
do you know... put some pressure on you.
Oh, expectations. I don't know. I want to see conclusions to the wolf bout and the Joaquin fighting Great Gamma side quests because
Oh man, I couldn't do his.
oh really? Okay.
If
Well,
it is what I think it is.
well, don't know what you mean really, but I want to see the smaller stories of the side characters go through to completion because I think it's the whole cast is pretty unique and interesting, and I also I kind of want to just see a good scene of Yuri just punching Rasputin in the face because he's a jerk.
You'll get that.
I'll get that. All right, that's cool. But I'm really not sure because I'm being consistently surprised by this game. I really don't know what direction the plot is going to go. Because this is not a typical RPG plot, and these are not typical RPG characters.
No.
But I'm along for the ride. I'm locked in. I'm gonna finish it, which I've said probably 8 times on this podcast, and I apologize.
Fine.
Because I don't always finish the games I'm supposed to play for this show. I'm not as bad as Josh about it, but it's true.
Replaying Covenant, and I think I'm probably going to be alone here. A little bit of a controversial hot take from me. But I've noticed there's a bit of an issue that I'm having with it, and that's the aesthetics and quite a bit of the plot are very dark, but absolutely every character, whether it be party member, protagonist, or foe, everybody's kind of a smirking wiseacre who kind of mugs to the camera at one point and is like, get a load of this guy. Can you believe this? I feel like, that first game was just like straight up dark, and then the third game just like veers heavily into the insane. And I feel like maybe in Covenant, although I think it might be, mechanically my favorite of the three, I think like tonally it doesn't really fit. It's like this kind of unhappy medium between like the full-on darkness and then the full-on insanity.
I agree with that actually completely. I'm a bit more hesitant to say how much I love Shadow Hearts 2, mainly because I loved the atmosphere of the first game so much, and I didn't really feel it as much with this one.
I don't know. For some reason,
it feels a little muddled,
Yeah, it does, definitely.
I had so much fun with it, so I can kind of put those two realms, as
yeah.
Yeah.
It is very, very charming nonetheless.
Maybe it's because I love wacky, dumb stuff. But I really like the I think the dissonance or the clash in tones between the serious and the real weird parts is appealing to me. Like if a game is just dark through and through, I find it sort of oppressive, and this game balancing the darkness with real strange humor kind of works for me. But I also haven't played Shadow Hearts 1, so I don't have that precedent to work off of.
There is some strange humor in the original as well. So
yeah,
it's a bit more subtle though. This one's a bit more slapstick, but Shadow Hearts 3 is like complete like out there slapstick.
There's
which I like that about it. I didn't at first, and now I've come to appreciate just how bonkers and tongue in cheek that third game is.
I think I'd agree, and I think
it's very Sakura Wars or Tenge Makyo.
I like the balance in this game, but I think I have to agree that there are times where I am sitting and playing it and I just think I'd rather it would be like fully commit to one or the other, I think. And I feel like maybe my happy like kind of complacency with being happy with the balance is maybe a bit of a retrospective view. And I think even though I love this game a lot, I feel like I viewed it a little bit with rose-tinted glasses. I'd still probably put it in my favorite RPGs, but I love it. But yeah, there are just like things that I didn't notice maybe 10 years ago when I first played it. So
it hits the later emotional beats very, very well.
Yeah, I much prefer the second half of the game. I think everything from when you get Anastasia.
The first one feels like such a waste of time in some ways.
Yeah, when you get Anastasia, everything after that for me like kind of propels it a little bit more.
The stakes of the plot are definitely higher after you meet Anastasia, because in the first one you're just sort of trying to figure out what you're fighting, and it's kind of just follow the evidence plot point to plot point. But with Rasputin's plot sort of revealed and seeing what's happening, it feels like it feels a little bit more serious at the end of the first disc, and that is good.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Because I think that an RPG managing the stakes of its plot is very important for me to want to care about the story of an RPG. It feels less frivolous when the stakes are high.
You're gonna save the world.
No. Spoilers, oh my god.
Oh. Semi-unintentionally, although he doesn't begrudge it too much in this game.
Nah.
So, but yeah. So I think we're actually going to leave it off there. Thanks everyone for joining, and thanks for listening. Just some little rules and housekeeping here. Next month, March, we are going to be playing a classic. So you might remember the Essential 10 list that we did last year.
I remember.
You've got the battle scars to show it, like all over.
I can't say those two words in front of Peter.
Oh no, that's very true. Well, maybe you'll be.
Which two words?
Essential and 10.
Not Kingdom Hearts.
Oh,
there it is.
It's okay.
That's weird. It sounded like you said words, but I just saw red for about a quarter of a second.
Very loud circus music.
But anyway, we all voted on 5 games from that list that we hadn't covered, and Mike will be happy to know that Kingdom Hearts didn't win.
Yes.
And the winner, and the game we're playing in March, is an all-time classic, Chrono Trigger. So I think everyone's going to be happy with that. I think everyone will agree that Chrono Trigger is perhaps the paramount standard RPG. So, please nobody complain about the Essential 10 list anymore.
Chrono Trigger's my favorite game, but I don't think I'm going to be on that podcast because there's no way I can be non-gushy or about it, and that's not that interesting to me to replay a game I've played 10 times already. But Chrono Trigger, you're absolutely right. Chrono Trigger is an all-time classic. I think a lot of people will be excited to hear Retro Encounters crew talk about it, and it is. I'm gonna listen to those episodes for sure because I freaking love Chrono Trigger. It's gonna be fun.
I'm gonna be along for the ride because it'll only be the second time I've ever played it. So,
and also a couple months ago, I may try to bug Nick and try to have him go on the podcast because on a couple months ago on the Confessional podcast, he mentioned never playing it, which is a problem.
Unfathomable to our generation.
A little bit.
Well, Nick's only... How old is Nick? Like 11? 13?
Yeah. No,
right,
he's
sure,
like
okay.
21, I think.
Whatever. That age is a number. But
I'm gonna... 21.
All right, R. Kelly.
So, yeah. Whoa, careful. Careful. I believe I can fly. But anyway, I'm going to see if I can make Nick play this game. But Chrono Trigger's great, and those episodes will show up in March.
So, thanks for listening, everybody. If you've got any questions or comments, you can head over to the RPG Fan boards, or you can email us at retro@rpgfan.com. But obviously, if you're listening to this, we'd love you to review us on iTunes or any other listening devices that you've got. Give us 5 stars. Send us a comment. We'll love you for it. So, guys, where can we find you? Steph, where can we find you on Twitter's social media? Well, you're the social media girl, so...
I am on RPG Fan social media. I'm Dice SMS on Twitter. So yeah, if you actually want to talk to me personally, otherwise I'm always responding to people on the actual social media RPG Fan channels.
Robert, where can we find you?
Well, you can find me on the RPG Fan message boards as Towns Car Marty, or you can find me letting my hair down on Twitter at Misanthrobob. Yeah, that's me.
You do have at the time of recording, you do have the best Twitter icon, if I remember it correctly, or it might have been Facebook, but you know what?
Oh, my Maytu picture?
Yeah, your like girl picture. Excellent.
Yeah.
And
Be
Mike,
my friend.
where can we find Mike Sollosi then?
Right, I am at The Real Monsoon on Twitter, and I'm the one that answers the retro@rpgfan email most of the time, so those are the easiest ways to get a hold of me.
Cool. And you can find me on Twitter at Alana Hagues, or if you want to talk to me on the boards, it's Diving Falcons with the little flammy icon, so with cute dragons. But anyway, that's it for us this week. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we will see you again.